Yes. So good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to today's channel seminar. First of all, I would like to apologize for canceling the service update, which was scheduled for today. We will be inviting you to a dedicated service deep dive session very soon. So this meeting is a live team event, which means that all participants are automatically muted. Nevertheless, your questions are very welcome. Please use the Q&A window on the top right, and we will answer all questions at the end. So most of the presenters you probably know, but I wanted to take the time to introduce you to today's agenda and presenters. So Martin Wiedner, Vice President Global Sales, he will bring you the latest news on Jenbacher, and together with Karl Richers, Vice President for Product Management and Marketing, they will talk about the latest developments and trends as well as opportunities and initiatives. And Karl will then give you an outlook on our product strategy. Martin Wendel, Vice President for Global Services, will talk about service achievements and the strategy and give an outlook on what's in store for you as a distributor. And Moritz Fröhlich, Vice President for Digital, will give an update on the current and future value proposition of our digital solutions, followed by Christian Trabucco, Director for Commercial Proposal and Distributor Management. He will talk about the account plans for 2024. As mentioned in the beginning, you can ask your questions during the session using the Q&A window on the top right. All questions are answered at the end. As the time slot for this session is not convenient for all time zones, we will also be recording the session and make this available in the next 2 weeks. So the content we are sharing with you should not be shared with anyone outside of your organization. Should you wish to use any graphics, documents, audio, and/or text, you will need our express permission. And with this, I hand over to Martin.
Thank you, Ante. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, a warm welcome as well from my end. As mentioned, my name is Martin Wiedner and I'm leading the global sales team here. Dear distributors, dear friends, I think, as you know, this year and as well last year, we together achieved some very, very important milestones. And with that, I would like to show you some highlights, what we achieved together. So first of all, left side, you see here our ESG efforts. We really spend a lot of effort in our ESG rating, and the whole company is really focused about ESG. And due to that, we are very, very happy to inform you, and I think you maybe have seen this on already some newsletters, that we were awarded by the EcoVadis Award for the INNIO Group with a Platinum Award. And with that, we are the #1 worldwide among our industries. So with that, we have the highest ESG rating achieved. The second and the middle portion, and I think you have heard a lot of information about this already, INNIO is ready for hydrogen. We have developed some dedicated hydrogen products. As you know, the Type 4 already ready to run 100% hydrogen. And with Type 4, we were also able to sell a few pilot customers already. Here on the shown example is North Sea, a data center in the Netherlands, which is operated on 6 420s, 1 megawatt, blackout start island mode engines for this data center. In addition, we sold for 12 container in Austria for a company called RAG, LAG, which use an underground hydrogen storage, which is as well here in Europe, the first of its class. But not only on selling those products, we are further developing our products. So beginning of next year, and within next year, we will as well launch the Type 6 for 100% hydrogen, and are really working and developing hard on that product. Please be aware that soon communication on that will come. To do all these developments and to bring all this hydrogen to our test cell and to our engines, we as well, together with the DIVAG here in Austria, in Tyrol, invested in an electrolyzer, which will give us the chance to have enough hydrogen here on the plant in Jenbacher. On the right side, you see some other news. Of course, we invested as well in our training capability in APAC. We have added training centers in China. We have added a warehouse in Singapore. What you see as well in the middle there, our Type 4 DE, the last development on 420, which was launched a few years ago, reached now the 100,000 operating hours altogether. And with that, we are very proud of that milestone, and we are very convinced that this DE platform is the right product and for 40K and 80K maintenance overhaul. And last but not least, you might have seen in the news that we acquired Northwestern Energy System, so-called NES-WES, which was the largest distributor for Jenbacher in the United States. And so with that, the majority of the United States are now in our direct sales. And with that, we are very happy to announce Northwest into our big Jenbacher INNIO family. Maybe what you have heard as well, there was no announcement external, but our shareholders and our top management decided to streamline the organization further. And therefore, I got the chance to lead the complete new units and service sales team. Before, maybe if you remember, it was Leon van Vuuren who was or is leading and was leading the regions, and myself who was leading the global sales support team. We both reported into Olaf, and now this is a little bit streamlined. So I got the chance to lead the full sales team. Global regions is still led by Leon van Vuuren, so there will be no change in your day-to-day work with Leon or with the regional teams. We added as well a commercial strategy and business development team. Some of you might know Markus Strömich, who is leading that team for me. And we are really focusing more on this business development, finding white spots in the individual areas, regions, in our direct regions, but of course, together with you in some indirect regions. And on the right side, commercial operations, application engineering, and distributor management is as well in the sales team as in the past. And here, if this is all under one umbrella, we hope to have here closer alignment, quicker decisions, and be more efficient here. But as said, for your day-to-day business, nothing really will change. Next topic I would like to discuss about are the global challenges and opportunities. We are all together well aware of this. We talked a lot about the complex customer demands, turnkey solutions, about the energy transition to all these renewables. Gas power plants, gas engine power plants will be more or less peaker plants in some areas. There is a lot of change in that. And of course, as well, the still challenging supply chain and raw material position. I think we have proven over the year 2023 that the company was able to, I would not say overcome, but to improve the situation. And due to that, I think we were able to improve the delivery times and the fulfillment of the delivery for new units and as well for service spare parts a lot. However, we are still not there where we want to be. And of course, the cost increases and the costs of these goods are still a big pressure for both of us. Due to that, we ask you as well, for all these challenges, we ask you as well, you as a distributors, but as well ourselves, what initiatives and what ideas would be good to overcome those challenges. And we got 136 initiatives returned from your end, really a high response rate, inclusive the account plan feedback. So really thank you for that great feedback and these great ideas. 72 out of these initiatives were related to projects, new unit and service projects, mostly short term for this year, of course. And of course, your questions was heavily focused on pricing and pricing support, which we will handle and have handled on a case-by-case basis as in the past. And we are in ongoing discussions with you all about this. However, 64 initiatives were more strategic nature, mostly midterm, and we will review those in detail and already started to review those in details. And these are very, very interesting initiatives for us. Maybe some examples, right? From some of you came an idea to develop different material stream agreement offerings, for example, for landfill sector. However, we had as well for flagger sector that retains end users parts business. Some of those are buying the parts somewhere else, doing their own stuff. And by developing different MSA scope, maybe we are able to bring them back or to keep them with us. Some others asked for more joint visits to customers to push new projects for replacement of old engines or as well for new deals. I think there, of course, there is no review needed. Please reach out immediately to whomever from Jenbach, to your regional leader, to the regional salespeople who support us, and as well to the headquarter team. Of course, we will immediately support there, and we are more than happy to go with you to the customers if this is from help. Some said as well to want themselves to increase the commercial presence. Of course, it's very, very important for us to see that you are right staffed to address the market's need. And maybe one of the last ideas, and encourage customers to store more emergency spare parts. Of course, that's always important, not only for the order intake on a short term, but as well that you're able to serve the engines as it's needed with enough spare parts in country. So many thanks for these ideas and for these initiatives. And then I think 2-3 weeks ago, we asked you for another initiative, for another idea. So with that, we launched a second initiative, and we asked you about the opinion about heat pumps or large heat pumps. And again, thanks for your opinion and thanks for your feedback. And this heat pump is now a topic, and that's the reason we asked you as well, which we are with the shareholder and well in the board are really thinking about how to address this and what to do this and how to do this and shall we do this, right? Of course, it's clear to us it's a different business field. Maybe there is only some overlap with our existing sales team, with our existing service team, but we do think there can be synergies. It was surprising to us in how many countries and areas in the world you see heat pumps as a market and as a growing market. So with that, I think it was very useful for us because we thought it's more a topic, mainly core Germany, Europe, but as we saw, it's as well a request in many, many other places. And so with that, I think this helps us for your evaluation, for our evaluation, if and how we go into this market. Good. Other topic which we will cover together with Karl, latest developments and trends. As said before, right, we have challenging times. The business change, the market needs change, the customers changing, and we are really focused on developing new application fields, and we would like you to focus a lot on so-called white spots. These are applications or projects in your country which are not addressed so far by us, because maybe we thought it's a diesel business, maybe we thought it's a turbine business, but please be very, very open and challenge yourself and ourselves. What could be a new application for us? We have here 3 examples. Of course, some are new, some are not so new, but 3 very successful applications we are working and operating already in the past, but as well, especially in 2023. So first, we entered the microgrid application with our own microgrid controller, with the possibility to add a battery storage system if needed. But we are focusing a lot on this microgrid controller. Let's call it a master control system over the whole plant, and of course, then our engine or genset supply. We were able to sell the first microgrid applications in Africa, South Africa, in Germany, and I think we have many offers out. So please reach out to your regional team if you are interested in microgrids and if you see the possibility to sell microgrids. I think this can make a differentiator in the near future against the competition. Second, data center. Everybody of us knows that data center is a real booming market. It's still heavily diesel engine suppliers are sold out more or less due to data centers. However, we see with the big data center suppliers, with the discussions we have with them, but as well when we discuss with grid suppliers, that the data centers will change, the data center market will change as well. In a lot of areas, diesel needs to be replaced due to environment reasons. Even diesel for backup needs to be replaced. In a lot of areas, we see that the grid is too weak to support the data center power needed 24/7. So there we sold projects with gas engines doing either backup alone or doing backup plus peaking, where they run 1,000 to 1,500 hours a year to support the grid in the time where the grid is weak. And then very important as well is the need for total green data centers, where with our possibility to operate the engines on pure hydrogen, or that, for example, a type 6 data center plant can be operated for the next 5 to 10 years with natural gas, but then be converted to hydrogen, that this is already the right solution for a green data center in 2030, when it's, for example, when it's needed. And due to this, we see much more demand on data centers. So please reach out if you hear something about data centers, to the big ones, but as well to the smaller ones. Very important as well, the big ones are talking to us, but there are so many small cola suppliers out. Please reach out to them as well, and we would have the right product for them. And last but not least, one of the big reasons that the total addressable segment for gas engine was growing in 2023 was the so-called e-frac business, mainly in the United States. There, the drill rig business changed from direct-driven compressor or engines for compressors for electrical frac. So our chainsets are providing electric power to electrical fracking motors. And this is one of a very big business in the US, and we were able to work together with one of the big customers there and was able to sell a lot of engines to them. And we developed a dedicated product for this. So please, if you see as well, if you have oil and gas business in your region, please be very careful to hear about if they do electric fracking as well, because this could be as well a very good market for us together. Good, and with that, I would like to hand over to Karl. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. A warm welcome also from my end. My name is Karl Riches. I'm leading product management and strategic marketing. I wanted to start today with an outlook of how we are seeing the market develop. The good news first, we expect the growth trajectory to continue, and that's driven by different markets. We can see when we're comparing 22 to 23 that a big portion of the growth, as Martin just explained, is coming from North America, and they're straight from the e-frac segment. That's 500 megawatts alone. Then another key change between 2022 and 23 is driven by the Ukraine-Russia crisis, where 23 the Russian market is no longer covered in our total segment size numbers because we're not addressing that market anymore. And that's also continuing in the outlook to 26. Interestingly, almost all of the market that was previously dominated by Russia has been covered by the CIS states in 23 as we see it. And that CIS market we also expect to continue stable until 26. Beyond that, you can see that most of the growth is coming from APAC and then also from a healthy development across Europe, which is of course starting from a large base already. The fundamental driver behind this is that the switch to renewables, and that's wind and PV as direct renewable power, needs to be supported by flexible residual load capacity. Capacity need in Europe alone, if you look into a year of 2040 and model the renewables in the winter months, clearly shows that there is a significant need to burn fuels to cover that residual load demand. We're projecting roughly a gap of 300 gigawatt if you're considering that coal-fired power plants, of course, need to retire to achieve the climate targets. In Germany alone, the projections are something like 30 gigawatts of a load gap that needs to be covered by flexible gas-fired power plants. Of course, a big portion of that will go to turbines, but we also expect that we'll capture a growing portion of that market. So fundamentally, also the long-term outlook is very healthy, and I think we're well positioned to address those markets. Then looking at the segments on the right side of the chart, of course, traditionally the main segments continue to be the commercial industrial segment plus the IPP utility. And then we're seeing a strong oil and gas segments in kind of the known countries in that respect. So the US, Canada, Argentina, Nigeria. And that's also where we see, especially in the US and then partially potentially in Canada and Argentina, potential for e-fracking applications. Now I wanted to give you a quick look at what's happening on the policy side, which continues to be and is maybe even increasing in importance when it comes to supporting our general market development. Because of course in many markets our business is supported by special policy initiatives. And there's also threats coming from some of the angles. Overall, when it comes to Europe and its individual member states, a lot of the policy is driven centrally from Brussels. And that's, of course, the big initiative of Fit for 55, driving the 55% greenhouse gas emission reductions by 2030, plus, of course, the target for full neutrality by 2050. And that's supported by individual smaller initiatives. The taxonomy, that's basically classifying investments as sustainable or not sustainable, where natural gas is included as an option, but under very strong conditions or very tight conditions, and only until 2030, which is potentially leading to financing challenges for natural gas power plants. So of course, renewable gases and of course, especially hydrogen, but also biofuels are covered under taxonomy and as sustainable investments. And then an initiative from last year, driven by the Ukraine crisis, Repower EU, which is basically changing natural gas supply to cover for the previously imported amounts from Russia. And that's driving significant savings on the one hand, but also a transition to biomethane. Interestingly, and that's, I think, one thing to consider, this biomethane generation that's projected there is to a large extent coming from existing biogas plants, which would then be converted to biomethane production. We've already highlighted that that makes limited sense because, of course, the electricity and the heat that's already generated from these biogas plants will also need to be covered in the future. So it's not really true that this would drive any savings in gas importation. Then a big legislative initiative in the EU is the new electricity market design. I think one highlight up front, because there's been discussions around changing the fundamental pricing mechanisms of electricity pricing in Europe. This is off the table. Merit order pricing will continue to be the fundamental price setting mechanism. That's, I think, important news because it will bring stability into the pricing of the market. But then also there's strong conditions as to what is eligible for capacity funding schemes. At the moment, 550 grams of CO2 equivalent per kilowatt hour is the sufficient target to meet, and we're of course doing that with all our products, both in a genset, but also of course even more so in CHP application. Of course, these thresholds will become stricter. The discussion is around 270 grams, so high efficiency CHP, and also there's been discussions around only allowing basically convertible plants to renewable sources, namely hydrogen. Then when it comes to cogeneration, I think an important achievement of last year is that the EU Parliament or individual members of the Parliament plus member states in the Council have brought the request to also include CHP in the Net Zero Industrial Act as a support-worthy technology, which has previously not been the case. And then maybe one thing to remember, the eco-design is basically pushing out natural gas boilers as an option to generate heat. So it could effectively be called a gas boiler ban. Luckily, CHP as a source of heat from natural gas is not negatively affected. And then looking quickly at what's happening on the hydrogen side, and that's really a global picture here. On the one hand, we see significant challenges in achieving the ramp up of the hydrogen production, and that's the production that we'll need to build out a hydrogen infrastructure, both for industrial use, so basically use as a chemical material or a material for chemical production processes, but also as a source of power for both the mobility and the power sector. The bottleneck here really will be the electrolyzer capacity, production capacity of electrolyzers. We're already seeing delivery times of around 3 years, long permitting processes, so quite a challenge ahead. Then, on the other hand, there are strong support schemes to basically drive a quick ramp up of hydrogen. On the one hand, the H2 bank auctions, first scheduled for November this year, with a bonus of up to 4.5 euros per kilogram over 10 years. And then on the other side of the Atlantic, we're seeing the IRA with strong support for a hydrogen ramp up to $3 per kilogram tax credits for the production of green hydrogen. So a lot happening, and we're quite confident that that ramp up will continue quickly, and that the infrastructure that we'll need on the pipeline side will also be built by 2040, and that our path in converting our products to hydrogen use is the right path to continue. And now let's move into a quick outlook of what's coming in the product program 24. This can really only be the highlights. Of course, there will be, as every year, then a detailed session beginning of next year. But we wanted to give you a bit of a sneak preview of what's coming and what we'll share in more detail then early next year. So on the 208, we're basically leveraging the development of the Type 3F platform and applying the same components to the 208, plus a new turbocharger and intercooler concept. And this allows us to increase the power up to 360 kilowatts electric, plus improve the efficiency by 2% points compared to the previous 208C versions. And with a new Type 3 power unit, we're also able to reduce the methane slip or hydrocarbon emissions. This is under development. The first pilot engines will be sold in Q1 24, focusing on 50 Hertz applications first. Then moving over to the Type 3. There we're basically in the continuing ramp up of the 3F with a 50 Hertz serial release, plus the new version for propane, the F56 version for 50 Hertz, plus the new biogas version with the high compression ratio of 13.5, which increases fuel efficiency by 0.7% points, which is available on request. So please reach out if you need this for commercial projects. Then on the 3D, we've released a new standby version, which drives power output, but comes with a dedicated maintenance schedule. Please also reach out if you have standby projects where you require the increased rating and where the compromise on the maintenance schedule is acceptable. And then for 60 Hertz applications, the 3D continues, of course, to be the serial version, but the 3F is already available on special release. So here as well, please reach out for the projects where the increased efficiency of the 3F with the 4-valve cylinder head is an important factor. Then on the Type 4, we're releasing the 4080 maintenance schedule for the Type 4 C and E versions, so the steel piston versions. And that's both for natural gas plus natural gas-like quality on biogas. Basically the largest portion of the Type 4 applications. Plus, there is a dedicated standby peaking product with increased rating, where we're ready to offer 1.67 megawatt electric. This comes again with a hit on the maintenance schedule, but that doesn't really matter for standby peaking projects. And of course, the power output is significant. Then looking at 60 Hertz applications, again at 1800 RPM, then just like for the Type 3, the 4DE is available as a special release, both with the increased power to 1.56 megawatts, plus also on request with EPA certification. And I think what's also important is the standby peaking product, also based on the 420E with 1.67 megawatts. And covering the hydrogen topic that I mentioned earlier, the Type 4 is available for hydrogen use, both for 50 and 60 Hertz. Please reach out to us for projects. And here we're really interested to drive projects, because I think we all need to work on that front to make hydrogen projects visible with recip engines, because this is demonstrating our capability to burn hydrogen. It's demonstrating the capability to convert the existing fleet to a hydrogen operation. And that's an important cornerstone of the political story that we need to convey to remain attractive also for natural gas applications until then eventually hydrogen becomes available. And then a bit of a longer term outlook, the 424. So we're working on the 424. In fact, we're at the moment building the pilot for our in-house validation. The 424 will then cover a power output of up to 2.14 megawatts electric, 45% plus electrical efficiency. And we're expecting the serial release or planning the serial release for the product program 26. We're starting looking for the first pilot engines with focus initially on our direct markets, where we expect the first units to be shipped into the field third quarter next year. And then we'll follow the rollout for indirect regions and 60 Hertz applications. Then let's move over to the Type 6. On the 624, really no changes. We continue with the 4.5 megawatt K versions configured with the F3 head. Plus, we have pre-serial release, so starting to ramp up on the L platform, and I'll cover the L platform on the next page in a bit more detail. Option of the H cylinder head remains for low soot applications. So, for example, greenhouses. That's probably the most dominant application for low soot. And then on the single stage, 612 to 620, we have the 512 version reintroduced with the increased intercooler water temperature of 70 degrees. Then we have the dedicated version for fast start and data center, the 781, with high transient capabilities. That's the version able to start in 30 seconds to the first load step, and then accepting 25% plus load steps within class 2 rating. All of these versions with the F3 cylinder head. We also have worked on the propane rating, which was mostly relevant during the time of increased natural gas pricing, where we achieve up to 15% power increase. And then a change on the configuration of the genset, where we're moving to a brazed heat exchanger. And because of the stable design, this eliminates the need for an oil safety heat exchanger, which can be covered in the future with this standard brazed heat exchanger. A double stage heat exchanger on the oil side will then follow next year. And we're able to offer black start capabilities without the need of a pre-chamber gas tank. And this basically, or this is possible wherever we have more than 500 millibar gas pressure available. And the last one, a special hot country package available for inlet air temperatures of 50 degrees as a normal option, plus on special release up to 55 degree inlet air temperature. And then a quick outlook on the development side of the Type 6 on the L platform. As mentioned, on the K version, we're in a pre-series ramp up. Performance is very much identical to the K version. But the L platform comes with the potential for a future extension of the maintenance interval. Why do I say potential? Because with the limited operating hours that we have on the fleet, we're not able to fully release that yet. But the clear development target is a 40-80 maintenance schedule, and we're very positive that we'll achieve that. The volume is limited to 20 units for 2024 across basically Europe, the US, Pakistan. We definitely want to broaden the installed base to make sure that we're covering all the different applications in this controlled ramp up, to make sure that we're not overlooking anything on the product requirements and reliability topic. And then for the single stage turbocharged parts, so 612 to 620, the L version will come with a power increase to 23 bar. Again, pilot engines will be sold in 2024, limited to 20 units across Europe, and focusing first on 50 Hertz applications. And there again, target is a maintenance schedule of 40/80, not yet released, but probably achievable over the time. Then once the units in the field will be able to give a release of that maintenance schedule once we've achieved sufficient validation hours. The validation progress is looking really good. I mean, the key changes of the L platform, as you know, are the crank train, so new conrod, new bearing, and new crankshaft design. And with that, the fleet leader has now achieved already 10,000 operating hours. In total, across the validation fleet, we have over 65,000 operating hours and 14,000 starts, and that across 13 different units. And so far, the validation results are looking really good. So we're very positive to continue the rollout of the L platform. Then on containerized solutions, one big highlight is the rollout of our container design for the 420e version. So we have both genset and module versions 25 available now for 100% hydrogen operation. This was quite a bit of work because we had to redo the safety concept with an optimization of the ventilation and engine room layout so that we have proper air exchange and avoid areas where we don't have sufficient airflow. A different exhaust purging system and a nitrogen supply for basically pushing out hydrogen from the gas supply system. And now these are available for the 420. Plus, we've extended the container range for seismic releases, so earthquake zones. This applies for all configurations of the air intake configuration for the 3 meter wide container box, plus the top air intake versions of the 2.4 meter box. Then on our exhaust after treatment solutions, we've very successfully rolled out the combined SCR and OxyCat across the power ranges of the Type 3 to Type 6. The only one that's still missing and which is coming soon is the version for the 312 and 208, because the other one is over-dimensioned for that. Plus, on special demand, we have also configurations for ultra-low NOx emissions. The benefits of our own solution compared to just buying this from an independent supplier separately is that our system is, of course, optimized for performance as an integrated solution with our products. Plus, with the dedicated geometry, there is a better protection for the aftermarket business on changing the catalyst elements, which should be also attractive to you. And as the third point, it's fully integrated into our myPlant solutions. That is, and also, of course, the genset controls. The benefit of having it integrated in myPlant is also being able to cover continuous monitoring of the engine emissions. And then last topic, as Martin said, we see a growing market on microgrid solutions. And we're releasing our own microgrid controller. This is based on the hardware side on our master control. And our understanding, because I think microgrid is probably there's a wide range of definitions for what is a microgrid. From our perspective, a microgrid is a system that is capable to operate in an island configuration, but can also be, of course, connected to the grid. And our controller is capable to control up to 50 distributed energy resources. This includes, of course, standard gas engine-based CHPs, can be our products, but also third-party products can be integrated, plus renewable assets, both wind power or photovoltaic, plus different forms of storage, probably the most common one being battery energy storage systems, but also we can integrate ultracapacitors or flywheel solutions, and we're also capable to integrate backup diesel generators. So full flexibility when it comes to the different forms of generating assets, and we can control the system both based on speed or voltage group, and that's for active and reactive load sharing. We can do full load and reserve management, and that's both for active plus predicted loads when it comes to load additions, rejections. Of course, the battery with state of charge control, and we can also offer standardized interfaces to integrate third-party solutions, as mentioned, for battery systems, for other generating assets, but also inverters. The benefits of our solution is that it's highly customizable. We are showing very stable performance with our products. We've fully validated it. We're using it already at our site in our energy lab. And the good thing is that it can be very well integrated with a myPlant solution that's then optimizing the operating profile. And as said, as it's based on our master control, I think you know the reliability and customization potential of our solution, and that's an important asset where we feel we're offering a very competitive solution here, and we've already rolled it out on a number of projects, as Martin mentioned earlier, and are proud of this solution and are planning to grow this significantly in volume. Yeah, that brings me to the end of the presentation, and looking forward to your questions later.
Thank you very much, Carl. And with that, welcome to our world of service. My name is Martin Wendel. I'm leading and developing the global service organization. I'm very pleased that I have Moritz next to me. Digital capabilities, digital enabled services, and digital service play a broader and more important role for us in the overall service business, and that's why I'm happy that we share this presentation, the two of us together. A short overview on our business. We, on a regular basis, look together with Carl and his team on the overall development of how our business goes. And yes, we all know that we are in very, very challenging environments these days, not just of these catastrophic wars we have in the world, but also the smaller engines aging, very strong inflation in some countries, and more flexibilization. But we still are very convinced that we continue to globally grow. And very important, the 3% number is a number without inflation. So it is a real growth. And we can see that also for this year that we have a substantial one-digit growth globally, despite all the environment we're in. And as shown earlier also by Martin and Carl, we see that our living population will grow in combination between mortality and really new engines in. Yes, we see the grid balancing that new engines will have tendency-wise a little bit less hours than previously, and that smart dispatching plays a role. But still, I think it's a very good news, and it's a very important news for us that we say, hey, we can continue the path of heavily investing in our service capabilities, service strategy, etc. And I come to that in a minute. Just briefly looking backward, similar picture I showed you a year ago when we had the last mission. So spare parts availability, you know, well, we come out of the biggest supply crisis, I think, ever, at least in my 30 years of work. These numbers of express and parts availability are no longer accurate. We now reached over 95% of all deliveries that we deliver in time, means putting them on the ramp and supplying them to you. And Express, we are on 97, 98. We are still depending very hard on 2 suppliers that kind of give us the biggest influence, but it really looks like we can here stabilize our performance, not just out of Nuremberg, but out of all our logistics centers overall on that level. And that's really also our target, the 95 plus for standard, 97, 98 for Express. Where we have the biggest challenge is really transportation at the moment, still at the moment. The world of managing transportation companies has become a way, way bigger effort and challenge since Corona as previous year. So that is what we are working on at the moment, not just to get the parts on the dock with the right documentation paperwork, but also making sure that we can use our influence, maximize it to get it to you. Secondly, Riemann, we continuously develop that, not just the portfolio. Yes, logically, core management, core is key, core is king, plays a major role. So core deposits by nature is an important topic to manage that very effectively together with you. But we really invested a lot and continue in parts that we release towards you. myPlant tools, as said earlier, and Moritz will share with you more on that. We use that certain tools, dispatch, debrief, scoping very much in the direct markets and test them for you. And then with the high intention to make these tools also available for you after they are appropriately, we have the experience with that out of the direct markets. So important for us. Oil, we also shared, we are now above 3 million liters for the N oil, and for the S oil on 650,000 liters and progressing. And by nature, we are very, very pleased and happy with each and everybody of you to develop it further. When we started our first larger customer satisfaction surveys, the biggest impact on these 28 touch points by end customers, where the biggest room of improvement, not improvement, but the impact on customer satisfaction was speed of issue resolution. And that's what you can say. We invested a lot in headcount, not just in the headquarters, but also in the regions, Markus Verhoptes and Erwin Amplatz's organization. So we have more than 150 engineers supporting our global business through either digital connected engines, but logically also all others. And we also continue developing further our training capabilities centrally and regionally with more than 50,000 training hours. I think very good one. Last but not least, also, you remember well that the price increases on precious metals pressed us tremendously over the last 1.5 years. And we're very pleased now to have a return rate of cores out of the global market, including all these markets where we can't get cores back, to more than 30%, helping us to stabilize this pricing. And by nature, the consequence out of this process is also to make sure that we have more robust and less dependent on iridium and rhodium spark plugs, specifically for types 2s, 3s, and 4s, that make us more independent of the development of these two special precious metals. Now coming to our shared strategy session. So where do we see ourselves today from a price perception from customers versus our service performance? And say by nature, our absolutely positioning that we see together with you where we want to be in the market is logically not being cheap, but also in the same way related, moving on this path, ideal path up on, yes, we want to be on the premium side on both on prices, but also specifically in performance. And for that, the right side of the slide is extremely crucial for us. We distinguish very specifically between basic capabilities and differentiating capabilities and services consequently. Basic says no weakness allowed, means you don't need to be perfect in any of these, but you need to be good in all of these different services. So efficient execution in a certain speed and responsiveness. Also basic digital service that you say data-driven, we know the right parts, and general and infrastructure globally that is appropriate. I think that is related as much to you as to us. And again, you know, with the best technician, you cannot compensate a missing part, or other way around, or with the best technician, the best part, but the lack of an information, you cannot compensate. So we believe, and that's what we're working on, and set our initiative portfolio. We want to be good in all of these services versus all service products. And then based on that, we have a chance in order to come to that premium position. And that is really not all of these, but you need to be we need to be together distinctively for your market, individually very well on these ones. Either, you know, lifetime solution provider, having specific services, not just in upgrades, but also in aged engines, digital-based transparency and insight, customers that are very, very data-driven. They want to have this proactive digital support, logically being close, and consulting actively with engineering and product competence. I come with our mass product on that. And to bring that into the two structures, where we the building blocks we see is logically customer, learning a lot about our customers. myPlant is a big part of that. We make global surveys, and we're gonna continue doing that with you. And with those ones we were working, we're also very happy to share all results by nature and discuss them with you, because we can become better together. And the second is service experience. This basic capabilities, fix the basics, no weaknesses allowed versus differentiating. And customer development says, hey, we got frequently the feedback from end customers saying, hey, you got the data from us, tell us what we need to do, help us to become stronger together. Our shared initiative on monitoring as a service, we'll have on that later, is definitely important to that. Sales as an organization, absolutely strengthening as a key route to market. The path with you guys is the mission. Our bridgehead strategy, Martin mentioned on that, for example, that we have a stronger setup in Singapore now, that we have a warehouse in Asia, and that we build our first workshop in Latin America. So for us, the strategy is really, we, together with you, we want to have these bridgeheads, kind of core places where we can provide services in your region, in your continent, and then consequently develop that together with you for the further services. You need to start somewhere, but our intention is absolutely to develop in cooperation with you our global footprint. And by nature, we are changing a lot our organization. The service organization has now, in the meantime, over 1,000 people in the direct markets and central services. We continue growing, and that requires definitely a lot of adoption and changeability. And that's something happy to do with you. And the third element, data, digital, and AI. In a second, I'm happy to hand over to Moritz, but the single point of truth, having best knowledge and one data source in order to help out of that, analytics and AI are kind of absolutely strategic elements, and we are investing as a company a lot in these capabilities. Again, speed and precision is the consequence out of that what we are triggering. And with that, I would be happy to hand over to Moritz.
Right. Thanks, Martin. Moritz Fröhlich, leading digital at INNIO. So also welcome from my side or from my end. Giving you an update on digital and digital solutions, starting with the value proposition, especially around myPlant. So what we offer today, and I guess all of you should know myPlant Performance or as a performance management solution already quite well. So we are offering remote monitoring, remote access. We are investing heavily into analytics and into predictive maintenance to really gain service productivity and optimize also our service cost. And for sure also be able to support you in a better way, and that you can, through those solutions, support your customers in a better way remotely. And we are also continuously investing into myPlant Performance. So one of the recent developments, what we released, is myPlant Remote Operations. So in the meantime, you can start, stop, acknowledge trips from everywhere in the world without going on site anymore. I guess it is also a great feature to support your customers or drive your business. But I guess the next pillar is also quite interesting for you, what we are doing internally with the data. So why are we pushing you for connectivity continuously year after year? At once, as INNIO, we are definitely using the data to develop a better product for you. So looking at quality topics, looking at all of our validation processes, understanding the fleet in a better way to develop the solution, the product, the gas engines you need. And especially with Martin, and this is what we developed in the last couple of years, are, I guess, quite differentiating solutions for our internal service markets or direct service markets, starting with market intelligence, market insights. For instance, last year you have seen the situation in Europe with the energy crisis, and we have seen directly, more or less in real time through myPlant, that operating hours were going down, and some of our customers who didn't have the proper contract started to go into peaking from baseload. We directly responded to it, put amendments into our contracts, and were able to recover the situation for us also financially. We invested heavily together with Martin into the field service management and drive their automation in the field service processes, from scoping, forecasting, dispatching, and debriefing. So the entire world is in the meantime managed through myPlant, and we are continuously investing into it to also automate it. We are using the data on connectivity, but also on process data for business forecasting to manage our resources in the right way, understanding when do we need which resource or what capacity in which country, on which area. One of the solutions, Martin will talk about it in 2 minutes, we call it monitoring as a service, getting more and more proactive in our sales approach. So going from reactive really to proactive through data. We are simplifying our end customer interfaces continuously. So we are also rolling up a new mobile app that customers can arrange service appointments with us in an easier way. We can push information or upgrade possibilities directly on their smartphones. And we are also advancing our business model through myPlant solutions. So at the end, it's still a service solution, but digital is helping us a lot to build USPs in our business models going forward. What we will add in the future or offer in the future is more or less exactly the same. So we are developing it for us in the direct markets to be able to offer it to you going forward. So this value proposition, what we see today internally, is embedded into the myPlant solutions, what we will offer tomorrow. So you see it at the bottom right. So myPlant performance for engine-related topics, myPlant maintenance for maintenance and service process-related topics, myPlant commercial for sales-related topics, and optimization. This is then exactly going into the microgrid strategy, into an energy management solution that we are supporting our customers more holistically, not just on the engine, really on the entire power plant. To put this into a strategic context, this is what you see on this slide. So on the x-axis, you see really the evolution of the business model from getting more and more proactive in your core business model, developing new solutions in your core business, but also the ability to develop completely new business models adjacent to your core. And this is really driving performance and resilience in your business. And with this, handing back to Martin.
Thank you very much. To give you an outlook, I targeted before, and the outlook is really linked a lot to topics specifically that we do combined with digital and have definitely a very strong digital basis. The parts locator is a function what we started now, where we are really proactive, making the system ready with the target to roll that out to some of you in the second half of next year, and then over the years everywhere. Again, this is not rocket science. I've done this in another company before or another life. And at the end, the key target is to say, let's have a shared, smooth supply chain end to end to secure that you have the highest possible availability at the point of sales. And because a big portion of the supply chain, by nature, we know much better. We know how our suppliers performing. We know how we are performing. What we can get out is a lot is bullwhip. So the better we know what you have on stock, but only with the targets that we can help you having the right stock on the ground and using every trend. When you, for example, in 20 markets, certain demands and certain specific components go upwards, it helps us immediately to get proactive and source this part. Other way around also, it helps us saving costs for the overall supply chain. If we see certain trends downwards temporarily, with this coming now with the inflation, etc. So where we want to go is, and where we believe is that when we have end-to-end transparency on spare parts in the supply chain until your counter where you sell your spare parts, or until the counter when you can hand it over to the technician, or your technician who installs it, I believe that we're gonna get a lot more bullwhip out and smoothen the supply chain and can secure that, for example, we don't put something in a container and put it on a ship if we desperately know that these parts are getting short over the next couple months, and we use AI to forecast that. I think it's a super important topic. I can just only encourage you when we approach you to join that initiative. Again, in my last company, everybody participated and we got tremendous feedback on that initiative to say we use our shared stock we have globally transparently together. And it's not just upwards of selling more, it's also helping the slow movers that you might need but have a big demand or a demand somewhere else, that we don't buy 10 pieces from a supplier and need 5 months to get them. We pull them back from you, we buy them back from you and use them somewhere else and help you optimize your stock and help us avoiding big stock returns and long lead times from suppliers. The second big topic is, again, something what we said, we test this out in the direct markets and we do it quite successfully. Just very simple words. We say, again, connectivity is the baseline for that. It only works for connected engines. But we said, customer came to us and said, hey, teach me, tell me what I need to do. How can I optimize my product's performance? What can I do? My initial idea was in saying, hey, we hire a bunch of engineers and we go together with you to your customer sites and consult customers there. And the answer was, hey, why don't we build a digital tool and do it digitally, having kind of a 360-degree understanding and saying, hey, which service can be done earlier, maybe should be done earlier, what upgrade could help, and having through that a data-driven consulting capability, what we can use in order that you become way more proactive, simplified with the use of digital and all product data we have accessible. It is quite successful. Next year would be the chance to slowly roll that out to you. And if you have volunteers who would love to start first and develop that with us, Moritz and I will be happy to receive your contact, email, or phone call, or whatever way of contact. Hey, we believe that this proactivity of marketing products beyond that we just wait until the customer comes with his order is a big element for our future. Last but not least, service campaign. We know that our view, how we kind of communicated online to the world, from down to the brochures, from an image video to trade shows, how we displayed our future service or our services that we tried to show you in the last couple slides, and also bring that in transparency. That is something we're going to roll out. Plan is that relatively soon in next year to get that public. We are heavily working on that, and we know we haven't done that much consistently in the last couple of years, but that is something which is out and which should also help you, is to say, to bring our values, our capabilities, and our vision of what we invest, what we do in service across. And last but not least, if you want to forget all our slides before, I think that's the 3 points I would consider most in saying, I still believe service experience sells service, and service experience is not just the current feeling if I'm happy with the spare parts delivery. It's also linked in the trust in us that our service capabilities, digitalized, gonna help your customers in 5 and 10 and 15 years, and that we are on the edge developing that. But it has basics first. We need to be clear in everything and build on that depending on your specific market differentiation. You don't need to be good everywhere, but in the core, you need to be okay, and differentiating, you can develop 1 or 2 or 3 elements together with to do that. Logically, we are there for lifetime. It's not just upgrades and maintenance, but also in an end of life cycle, helping customers until the engine is replaced. And last but not least, our shared service organization, so not just ours, but also the ones of yours, we together I think a customer centricity and a transformative organization adapting all the time exactly on these digital needs is going to be the key also to be very, very successful in the next years or in the next decades. And with that, I would be happy to hand over to Christian.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martin. Christian Trabucco, you know me, leading the commercial operations and distributor management. Just a few words regarding the account plan for the next year. As you know, we are continuously requesting feedback from you during the account plan process to some of our key areas in order to improve, to be more successful. You can see those areas listed at the top of this slide. Fortunately, we were able on this year's feedback to improve on all of these areas. You can see the last year's rating between brackets, which makes us happy. An 8.2 overall rating still is not where we want to be. As mentioned also during this session, our goal is to achieve a 10. Three key areas have been discussed today. One was the product performance. We heard a lot about product improvements upcoming, as well as new products that are in the pipeline will be introduced in the next month or year, such as the 424. We heard about the importance of myPlant for the services business and for the success of our overall business, and that's one of the reasons why, of course, we are on a continuous basis improving the functions as well as adding additional functions. Moritz Fröhlich talked in detail about this recently. And then finally, also the service excellence area is a very important area for us in order to stay successful. We heard about a lot of KPIs that Martin Wendel mentioned, such as the improvement on the spare parts availability above 95%, as well as the extension of our training offerings and many different KPIs where we always strive to become better. Let's look back and partly forward. With respect to the account plan for the next year, I would like to start with a big thank you. Also, my team confirmed to me that it is a very efficient collaboration with you with respect also to the submittal of those information that we are asking from you. All of them have been submitted in the meantime. As you know, the account plan review is on the way or will start soon together with our sales regions, with a goal to basically finalize the account plan for next year by end of November. And then last but not least, a comment to a small area, but still an important one where we also would like to improve, which is the distributor operating policy, the document that you for sure know. There will be a new release of that document with a hopefully better and more transparent way of formulating and requesting different stuff from you. With that, I would like again to thank you for your collaboration and hand over to Martin.
Okay. Thank you, Karl. So before I wrap this up and before we jump to the questions, first of all, thanks for your participations. There are more than 150 people in the call, so thanks for dialing in. Yeah, to wrap this up, right? You have seen that overall, we do think with really challenging market and challenging environment with all the things happening in the world, we still believe in a growing and a strong market for you and for us. But as said, right, these changing requirements will need our special focus on white spots in every region, in every world, every country in the world. Please make sure that we really see the market, that we address every possible possibility to sell an engine. Please make sure that your people are right trained, well staffed to do the new unit job, but as well the service tasks Martin asked, and as well to have enough spare parts in the country to really be the best in class in service. Competition is coming close. We do, of course, everything to develop our products to be there a step ahead of the competition. But again, I think this new units and service excellence, which is needed to be maybe the game changer or the unique selling point, is as well needed. Again, with that, thanks a lot for 2023 so far. Please make sure that we have a strong quarter and, of course, then a successful 2024. With that, I would like to hand over to Antje to open for questions.
First of all, thank you for the update and the insights. We already received a couple of questions. I will read them out. Okay, Karl, the first one is for you. So hydrogen production costs a lot, but customers who produce hydrogen as a byproduct can get benefit by hydrogen-based engine. Is INNIO working on an efficient hydrogen production system?
So we're not working on hydrogen production when it comes to electrolyzers or anything. There's no plans to do that because we believe that those plants will probably be relatively large in nature and that would be significant scale effects. So not really matching our business and go-to-market structure.
Next one for you, Martin. Does the standby version of the 320D have improved starting and transient characteristics like the J620 high transient engine?
No, the type 3 C, D, E, or F, whatever generation you choose, have very similar island mode and starting characteristics. However, maybe as you know, on special release for type 3s, we do offer as well the 15-second start for special island mode application, and we have the possibility to, with stronger turbocharger and Gen 2 controller, to increase the load adding and load shedding characteristic of these engines. But there is no difference between D, E, or F. It's very similar on that regard.
Okay, next one also for you. Are there any limitations in operating hours for the standby peaking variants of engines with higher output versus standard versions?
Yes, the dedicated engines with higher output, let's call it the peaking versions, they do have a changed maintenance schedule. Of course, there is not really a limitation in operating hours, but commercially, if you do a lot of operating hours, it would not make sense to choose this version because the price and the costs in service would just be too high. We have here a dedicated reduced maintenance schedule to address the market, where we think the market is 500 to 1,500 operating hours a year, but many, many starts, and not really continuous power for 6,000 to 8,000 hours.
Okay, thanks. Next one for you, Karl. To save costs for customer, a localized container solution for hydrogen application is needed. Would Jenbacher be supportive for distributors to locally build container and Jenbacher provide tech support for them?
So our perspective is that we need to cover this efficiently. We're convinced that our containerized solutions are a good match for most regions. If we have dedicated regional hubs, and we are looking into different regional hubs also for container manufacturing, and we have sufficient volume to support it, then of course we are also very willing to support this technically. What doesn't work is that every distributor has its own container packaging and we support each one individually, because that's simply not efficient. But for larger quantities, absolutely yes, and we would then consolidate volumes for regional hubs there.
Okay, thank you. Next one for you, Martin. Are you changing the go-to-market strategy? With the acquisition of NES West, it looks like you are planning to go more and more direct.
No, clearly not. So we have an indirect and direct market setup in this world. Round about 50% of our volume is direct sale and round about 50% is indirect. Still thinking that this will continue like it is, right? Sometimes markets are growing more, others less, then it swaps from 50 to 55 or the other way around. But our go-to-market will be for sure always direct and indirect. Of course, in Europe, there is a big direct portion, and now in the US as well. But beside this, the rest of the world is mainly indirect, and this is as well definitely the focus to continue to work and grow with distributors.
Okay, thank you. Next one for you, Moritz. There should be an overview of myPlant performance where INNIO shows how many engines are protected from unplanned downtime and other achievements. Another question.
In general, it's more a comment, and a good comment rather than a question. But maybe to give you a couple of numbers directly. So in our direct markets, we have thousands of true detections of predictive analytics per year and are driving engine availability and reliability significantly. What is also supporting are the tools we are developing with Martin to have the right technician, the right tool, the right spare part in time, because knowing what breaks is one point, but knowing how to resolve it is another component to it, where availability is even more improved. What we are currently doing is preparing a couple of customer case studies with success stories to understand in a better way how other customers are feeling the benefit out of digital, but providing something also for the distributors and sharing how you can quantify it and calculate it is something we will take with us and include it in the next marketing material.
One KPI to add on that, for the direct markets, we said on cases locked, means where a technician or a customer logs a case with us of unplanned downtime, 60% of these cases we can, by the use of myPlant, solve remotely. It means no technician needs to go out. So that is for us kind of one of the core KPIs you might reflect for your market as well, and saying that is one of the key elements we developed to say, hey, the fastest ramp up of an engine again is by nature if there's no driving time or physical way that the technician needs to go to the engine to ramp it back up.
Okay, Martin, next one for you, Martin Wendel. When will you launch the new service campaign, and how can we get the service campaign material?
This is a heads up. Again, it's very important that we launch that together. So we're going to make that all available to you. Give us until the end of the year. We're going to get in touch with you and tell you in detail how you get this material, how we send it, what's online. Also, our website is going to be completely updated, the service portion of that with all new contents. End of the year, latest early next year, we're going to get in touch with you how exactly we're going to make all that material available to you.
Okay, thank you. Martin Wittner, last one for you. Do you have a plan to reduce the high pressure requirement of J620 fast start version? The engine has excellent transient performance, but being challenged by the G3520 CAT, which can operate at 2 psi gas.
Okay. Thank you, Ante. Good. So yes, we are working on a 620 or on type 6 in general, fast start with lower gas pressure. However, the super fast start with board injection per cylinder requires technically the high gas pressure of 6 or 7 bar. But we have tested type 6 engines with the normal combustion concept we do with the pre-chamber and the turbocharger charging air-gas mixture with air assist and different other topics. And here we were able to increase the performance a lot, but not reaching the super fast start. And for that, we need the standard gas pressure as always. I don't know, Karl, when would this be available?
I expect that we can communicate on this within next year. So we have a dedicated program to optimize performance and then release basically a cost-optimized fast start version that's building on separate technology blocks. Yeah.
Maybe we are well aware, right? If you need a gas compressor for the full engine gas amount, of course, it's a huge disadvantage. If you have the pressure available, I think the 620 super fast start is the best available product. And the Caterpillar 3520 performance we know as well. And that's the reason as well why we are developing more in that direction.
Okay, Karl Martin, in the implementation of systems that can synchronize with the smart grid, what solution could be reached to improve power quality and reduce harmonics in processes for customers with significant capacitive and inductive components.
Can you repeat
That's a
once more, please?
question.
So we know that the request of so-called synchronized condenser, etc., to support the grid with capacitive and inductive power is needed, and this is a product we are thinking about. So far, we have not started development on that. But seeing more and more markets coming into that direction, we do think about to start a development like this. But it's not addressed this year, and we are still thinking about to address it next year. But most likely, it will be 25 or more, right, to have such a product available.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Good.
Yeah, and we also reached the time, so I think.
So again, then with that, let's sum it up. Many thanks again for your participation. If you have further questions, then please reach out to us. Please reach out to the regional sales or service contact you're normally working with, and happy to answer your questions, and hope to see you soon in person in the region, or as well maybe in Jenbach, right, whenever it's possible. All the best and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.